My family, hi. Sorry I'm late. I actually have updates concerning some breaking news, and this might be a day or two late, but I just failed to share that with you. Yesterday I couldn't, upload a couple of videos because, I was busy with some other things. So yes, I've actually seen in the news that there is a virus.
A number of passengers on board a cruise ship have died and others have become extremely sick with suspected hantavirus. Here's what you need to know. The cruise ship, the MV Hondius, is carrying about 150 passengers and was traveling between Argentina and Cape Verde when passengers fell ill. The ship is currently outside the port of Praia, the capital of Cape Verde. To protect the local population, passengers are not allowed to disembark here. This passenger says he's on board the ship.
What's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home.
According to the cruise operator, Oceanwide Expeditions, the first fatality was on the 11th of April when a Dutch passenger on board the cruise ship died. On the 24th of April, the deceased passenger and his wife were disembarked on St. Helena, an island in the South Atlantic Ocean. But 3 days later, the 27th of April, the cruise operator was told the wife had also died during her return journey. On the 27th of April, a British national became ill and was evacuated to South Africa for emergency care. Then on the 2nd of May, a German passenger died aboard the ship.
So that's actually Hantavirus, And I actually saw a prophecy confirmation on Prophet Angel's channel.
I saw a panic in the laboratories where they begin to actually start a movement of another virus. Just like as they said about COVID, this virus will be coming from an animal. There is a strain coming within 8 months.
The World Health Organization says 6 suspected cases of hantavirus have been reported on board a cruise ship in the Atlantic. At least 3 people have died. The virus, usually spread by rodents, can lead to severe respiratory illness and hemorrhagic fever. The operator said 2 symptomatic individuals are on board, with efforts to repatriate them ongoing. Sean Dilley reports.
COVID is definitely 100%, 2,000,000% back, not coming back. It's just waiting for them to package it the right way and tell you the strain is coming. It's now bigger now. They are already in rooms now discussing the next step to make you fear. Look, all these years we're carrying you, getting up to here. Why were we doing this? Because the Lord knew the moment the strain of any disease comes, they say, you know what? We have another one, more dangerous than this one. Even if they can control it, they are not trying to control anything. They are trying to get fear out. So whatever disease we are going to receive, it's still a spirit that I just called it COVID so that you get it. But what it is there is a strain coming. It's within 8 months. So COVID is coming. Is it going to be called COVID? They're deciding, but it will still be a virus. This disease is coming. They've already sat. I've seen them in the spirit realm sitting down. They were not sitting in the spiritual realm. They were sitting in the physical, sitting and deciding what can we do. I saw a panic in the laboratories where they begin to actually start a movement of another virus. Just like as they said about COVID, this virus will be coming from an animal. It will be over 10 times more dangerous than COVID. Notice here, I'm not validating COVID was there or wasn't. I'm trying to say to you, according to what they shall say, it will be beyond 10 times, 15 times more than COVID. It is a dangerous thing that they begin to discover. When I say discover here, I'm talking about what they would tell us on TV. If you hear the words of a prophet, hear them clearly. This was an animal. We also ought to pray against plagues. In that I saw a plague rising, whether it's a flu strain or whatever it is, but it's a plague that the enemy is trying to bring in.
The World Health Organization says 6 suspected cases of hantavirus have been reported on board a cruise ship in the Atlantic. At least 3 people have died. The virus, usually spread by rodents, can lead to severe respiratory illness and hemorrhagic fever. The operator said 2 symptomatic individuals are on board, with efforts to repatriate them ongoing. Sean Dilley reports.
So that was amazing. That was actually one of the thousands of prophecies that Prophet Angel has released that has actually been fulfilled. And for those who actually want to know more about the hantavirus.
So there's been an outbreak of hantavirus on a cruise ship, and that's led to the death of some passengers. So what do we know about this virus?
What is hantavirus?
Well, hantavirus, it's named after a river in South Korea, and that word, hantavirus, really describes a sort of family of viruses. Around 20 viral species have been identified according to the World Health Organization. It's not just one infection. It's really serious, but it's also relatively rare, and it's linked to exposure to rats and mice. The risk is typically highest when someone's doing something like, for example, cleaning out a building that's had a rodent infestation. So most of the human cases are reported in rural settings, such as forests, fields or farms, where rodents are present, and that means the opportunities for exposure are greatest.
Where could this outbreak have come from?
That's a really, really important question, and the answer is we don't yet know. All the cases are linked to this cruise ship, the MV Hondius, which set sail from the very southern tip of Argentina at the very beginning of April. But the first 2 fatalities, who were a Dutch couple, they're reported to have travelled through South America before boarding the ship. Now, that's really important because it's possible that one or both of them came into contact with the virus during their travels. And one version of the virus, known as Andes virus, that's been identified as causing infection in humans in both Argentina and in Chile. So, for example, in late 2018, there was an Argentinian outbreak that was traced back to people who'd all gone to the same party. A single person with the virus led to 34 confirmed cases and 11 deaths.
How does it spread? Is it airborne?
Yeah, it is slightly airborne, so it's transmitted actually by rodents, typically rats and mice, through their dried urine and the droppings, which are then blown into the air and inhaled. That's where it is slightly airborne. So mostly, yes, it is spread from rodents, but there have been these relatively rare cases of human-to-human transmission of this virus known as the Andes virus.
What are the symptoms?
Well, the virus can cause 2 really severe illnesses. The first is called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, and it often starts with sort of flu-like symptoms, really. You can get fatigue, fever, muscle aches, then followed by headaches, dizziness, chills, upset stomachs. But then, this is where it starts to get very serious. You get respiratory symptoms develop. So, for example, breathlessness. And the mortality rate associated with this type of illness is around 38%. So more than a third of the people, according to the Center for Disease Control in the United States, will die if they get that type of the virus. The second illness is called hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. And this is even more severe and primarily affects the kidneys. So later symptoms can include low blood pressure, internal bleeding, and also acute kidney failure. The mortality rate for this version is 50%, so half the people who get it are likely to die.
Who should be more worried? Is it more dangerous if an old person catches it?
Well, obviously, if you're older or frail, or even if you have underlying health conditions, any sort of serious infection like this could have devastating consequences. So it's pretty serious, however old or young you are.
How do you test for it?
So there are currently some cases that have been confirmed and some that are still suspected, but the way you test for it is what's called a PCR test. Now, people may remember these from the COVID pandemic when you might have a swab inside your cheek or up your nose. What it is a molecular biology technique that can quickly amplify or copy specific DNA segments, and that can create millions or even billions of copies from a very, very minute sample. And that allows, in other words, genetic testing.
What's the treatment if you do have it?
So there is no specific treatment or indeed vaccinations for hantavirus infections. Instead, medical teams will be supporting and treating the symptoms of the infection. Things like breathlessness, for example, and that's called supportive care. So that might include everything from oxygen therapy, mechanical ventilation, antiviral treatments, even dialysis if you have the most serious version of the illness which can affect your kidneys.
So, will we have another lockdown? Is this like coronavirus 2.0?
It's obviously still a really serious situation for those who remain on board the cruise ship. There must be a lot of worry about more cases emerging among the remaining passengers and the crew on board. But the World Health Organization says that currently the risk to the global population is low. But public health experts are going to continue to monitor and assess that situation. That risk assessment will be updated if they think it's necessary. So at the moment, no, I think we are a long way from a lockdown. And this really doesn't look like a coronavirus moment. It's understandable why people might worry about that. We all remember the beginning of the COVID pandemic when cruise ships in particular seemed to be vulnerable to infections like this. But I'd say we're still some way off that kind of emergency.
So my family, there's also something that Prophet Angel said, where he said that this is 10 times deadlier than COVID.
I saw a panic in the laboratories where they begin to actually start a movement of another virus. Just like as they said about COVID, this virus will be coming from an animal.
Hantavirus is a rodent-borne virus and is part of a family of zoonotic viruses. That's diseases that can be passed from animals to humans.
This will be coming from an animal. It will be over 10 times more dangerous than COVID. Notice here, I'm not validating COVID was there or wasn't. I'm trying to say to you, according to what they shall say, it will be beyond 10 times, 15 times more than COVID. It is a dangerous thing that they begin to discover. When I say discover here, I'm talking about what they would tell us on TV.
So my family, we're now just going to take a closer look to, this prophecy confirmation video that we received. I saw that there are a lot of, I don't want to call them demonic people, but there are people who claim to have discernment, but whereas it's just criticism, where they tend to criticize everything that the prophet does. So I actually saw some comments where people were saying that, this clip was edited and all these things were not on YouTube. So let me just try to take you through step by step. You see that video there where you talked about it being 10 times?
It will be over 10 times more dangerous than COVID.
So you actually look at the date, right? You're looking at it. Let me just share with you the video from YouTube. I just did a screen recording of the video just to show you that these videos are there. These prophecies are there. There's no faking.
Are you getting this or you're not getting this?
I'm getting it.
Are you getting this?
I'm getting it. That's it.
Now, one thing I want you to pray about is I saw a panic in the laboratories. It was a panic in the laboratories where they begin to actually start a movement of another virus. Just like COVID, this virus, as they say it about COVID, by the way, all right?
Yes, sir.
This virus will be coming from an animal. It will be over 10 times more dangerous than COVID. Notice here, I'm not validating COVID was there or wasn't. I'm trying to say to you, according to what they shall say, it will be beyond 10 times, 15 times more than COVID.
So you see, my family, the video is there. And there are also some of you also who claim to be discerning, but yet just being critical, who say that, but where is it proven that it is 10 times more than COVID and all that? Well, I actually did a search over there, as you can see, and this were the results, from Google. And there it is actually proven that Hantavirus is 10 times more deadly than COVID. It's deadlier, according to what they actually say. So as you can see, my family, the videos are there. And there's also another video. I also saw some people complaining about the part where he said it's going to be happening within 8 months and all that. And yes, let me take you to the full video.
Now hear this. Look, all these years we're carrying you, getting up to here. Why were we doing this? Because the Lord knew the moment the strain of any disease comes, they say, you know what? We have another one, more dangerous than this one. Even if they can control it, they are not trying to control anything. They are trying to get fear out. So whatever disease we are going to receive, it's still a spirit that I just called it COVID so that you get it. But what it is there is a strain coming. I don't know whether they're going to call it COVID or call it something else. But there's a strain. I'm not talking about this Nipah virus now.
So actually, CA was even more specific, because when he actually did this broadcast, there was, there were news that there is an outbreak of Nipah virus and all that. And a lot of people were thinking that it is something that he had prophesied about initially, though he actually did, because he talked about a virus coming out of India. But he then specified to say that this is not the main one I was talking about, which is 10 times, 10 times or more, deadlier than COVID. So he actually specified here.
I don't know whether they're going to call it COVID or call it something else. But there's a strain. I'm not talking about this Nipah virus now. I'm trying to give you that every disease that they will raise alarm over is for you to get to fear. I'm telling you now that the level right now, just this past week, the rise of people buying masks has increased after Nipah virus. They said, okay, it's coming again. I've been saying this over and over again. But I know what the Juniors are planning. They sat down already. I saw them clearly. They sat down and they're already ready. It is your fear that will stop them from it coming within the next 8 months, within 8 months. It is your fear.
So you see, he actually say that it is your fear which will determine whether they will release it within the next 8 months. And remember, this video was 3 months ago. So the fact that they are now reporting about it 3 months later, actually, it is still within the 8-month window and all that. And if you actually look at the prophecy confirmation that they released, it actually ties in to all these things I've been showing you.
Even if they can control it, they are not trying to control anything. They are trying to get fear out. So whatever disease we are going to receive, it's still a spirit that I just called it COVID so that you get it. But what it is there is a strain coming. It's within 8 months. So COVID is coming. Is it going to be called COVID? They're deciding. But it will still be a virus. This disease is coming.
So you see, my family, they just have to shorten it, give you a shorter version, but the full videos will be there. So those will just be, highlights of the main prophecy. So to watch the full video, go check out the, I believe the first one, the 2024 one was What the Future Holds or something. I think you can check out what I shared with you. And also, if you want to see the second one, it's COVID is coming back. So all these things are there. So I actually wonder why there are still people who don't believe that, Prophet Angel is a true prophet of God, and he says things and they come to pass. Thousands and thousands of international prophecies that have been fulfilled. All right? Yes. So I'll actually share with you some other videos about, this stuff that we're hearing about aliens. Maybe later on today, we'll see. So I'll meet you in the next one as always. Stay prayed up, stay prepared, and remember, do not fear about anything. Live a life of faith and don't fear about nothing. All right? Yes. I'll meet you in the next one as always. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.